Meet us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. Hey guys, meet Desire 620. In some markets, such as mainland China, it's also advertised as Desire 820 Mini, but basically it's the same thing as a Desire 620. It comes in two different versions with Desire 620 and 620G, where the G version comes with the Media processor. Meanwhile, the original Desire 620 is equipped with Snapdragon 410. This is the original Desire 620 with Snapdragon 410 and a gigabyte of RAM. First, you see a pair of speakers. This is the hTC's Boom Sound. This is their trademark, and there's a front-facing camera with the sensors and the speaker. 5 inches of a 720p display. This is not exactly the best display in the market, but considering the price, it's sold mainly in India, Taiwan, and Singapore. It's ranging around $200 US. So with that kind of price range, you can't expect the best display in town. And the HTC logo sits right there, and another speaker. And you can see the color scheme around here. It comes with a lot of different colors. This is a navy slash the sky blue. This is not exactly the best color match that I've ever seen from the HTC, but it's okay, except for the back part where you see a glossy plastic that collects scratches like crazy. So if you're a scratch consistent person, you might want to get a case or other kind of protection. There comes an 8-megapixel camera with the LED flash and the microphone, HTC logo, and you can see that, as I mentioned, is a cheap piece of plastic. And on the bottom, we got a micro USB port over here. As always, that's the HTC's favorite position for the micro USB ports, and the earphone jack, and the battery cover, as it seems like, is detachable by pulling off from the micro USB port. And the back, you have a dual SIM card slot. Both of them are LTE capable, but of course can only connect to the data network only by one SIM card each. And the micro SD card slot, so you can expand your already built-in 8 gigabytes of storage, and the replaceable battery sits right there. This is not exactly the usual for the recent smartphones. They usually adapt a built-in battery. This is a 2100 milliamps of battery, so if you're not satisfied with the single charge of battery, you can always buy and carry an extra one. Alright, turning it on gives us the usual HTC lock screen. You can swipe up to unlock the screen, or swipe left or right to bring it to the function like the blink feed or the widget screens. So we're going to swipe up now. And this is the HTC Sense user interface. You must be all familiar with that. They haven't really changed it much. It comes with an Android 4.4. They are planning to upgrade it to Android 5.0 Lollipop, but exact date is yet to be seen. Scroll to the left, there is a blink feed that you can get the updates from the other feeds like Facebook and Instagram or other news channels if you would intend to. And to the right, you got widgets. You can add up widgets. And interestingly enough, they added up a bar over here. This is a mainland Chinese version, so it might be the local feature, but they added a bar, a Samsung or Galaxy or LG likely, a bar over here. Of course, there is the usual quick control panel on the right side as well. You can swipe with your 2 fingers to directly enter the option. Settings as the usual. It proves us that it's got a Android 4.4 with the Sense 6.0. They're planning to come up with the higher version with the Lollipop update, so you might want to count on that. Aside from that, it's the usual HTC devices. I have everything set up at the Nova launcher, so you'll have to excuse me over here. Internals have a Snapdragon 410. It's a 64-bit enabled processor, but now we got the Android 4.4 KitKat, so we can have the full feature of the 64 bits, but a slightly enhanced version of the Snapdragon 400. It's a classic with the 1.2 gigahertz and the gigabyte of RAM, and the user available storage of 4 gigabytes over here. And that's not much, so you might want to add up some. But the thing about here is the few things that I have noticed is that performance-wise, it's okay. It runs pages fast enough, and YouTube pages and all the apps. It supports art runtime as well, so you might want to change that to get enhanced speed. I have done that to my unit, and it's actually faster than I expected. For the benchmark scores, it ranks around 20,000. That's pretty much the standard for the Snapdragon 410 processors, and recently, most of the devices have around the same specifications with the same Snapdragon processors and the same RAM, so there's nothing special over here. Performance-wise, I have noticed that the Samsung recent Samsung devices with the lightweight TouchWiz interfaces are slightly faster, but it doesn't bring much of the problems. It's snappy enough, and as long as you don't run a hardcore 3D games, it's gonna be enough for you. After all, it's a $200 phone. The thing that I have noticed a few things is mainly size. HTC is known for their thicker bezels than their competitors. Sony is also known for the bigger size compared to their sizes, but this HTC is even taller and bigger than the Sony devices. Of course, this is a flagship and this is a kind of a mid-level entry device, but still, big is big. And this might be a bit unfair, but G3 over here is a 5.5-incher, and this 5-incher HTC is even taller than the G3 with the bigger screen. And comparing with the mainstream, well, 2 generations ago, now that the S6 is about to come, this is a 4.99-incher of a Galaxy S4. You can see how much of a difference in the size that it brings. So size is one factor, and the cheap-looking plastic is the second factor. But those are all just price-conscious decisions that HTC might have made. Screen is another thing that I had in mind. The screen over here is an IPS display, but you can see some of the lines or some of the sand-like feeling on the screen that is not as pure or clear as you want it to be. So that's one other thing that was another disappointment. So aside from the disappointments, for the $200, it actually gave me a reasonable life of the battery lifetime. It has 2100 milliamps of battery life, and that's definitely not the biggest battery capacity you see, but it managed to run about the 4 hours of a screen on time. That was actually over my expectation, especially after reviewing the Motorola Moto G that had a terrible battery life at the tad smaller capacity of the battery. So that was another good feature. Actually, sound was actually better than I thought. Aside from the boom speakers, the sound from this earphone over here was actually good enough. The camera was a bit disappointing, but you know, there are not many $200 phone that actually take amazing photos. So this must be taken into a perception of a $200 phone. Is it a good $200 phone? Yeah, it is. It's actually an okay phone. It performed better than I thought. Even on the heavy applications like the Facebook Pages Manager, this is known to be a really heavy app. It takes a few seconds on the high-end devices as well, but after a few seconds, it did load up. So it's a good $200 phone. It seems like HTC is doing its job, but it definitely is a big and a tall phone considering its screen size, so that's a disappointment, but still it's okay. There are other competitors like the Motorola Moto G or the cheaper Samsung devices, but this, if you like the design, I did like the design, especially out of the 6 different colors. This was okay, and there are actually prettier colors out there. So if you're in for the Desire 620 or A20 Mini in the mainland China, it's an okay phone. It's not the best phone around the town, but for the price range, it is recommendable. That was Desire 620, and I was Phil from thecage.com. Stay tuned. We'll get back with other reviews and more. Bye.